Drew Brees is exactly 9 days older than me, just 9 days. And so I empathize with him in a way, and I root for him. I think it's fascinating to see that he's studying his own contemporaries to try to cut down on turnovers. Aaron Rodgers, who he said he was watching, Aaron Rodgers has thrown 2 pick sixes his whole career. Drew Brees has thrown 27, and he's still trying to get better. But there's this crazy dynamic with these old guys and with these 23-year-olds who win the MVP. How are they supposed to keep up with that? How is Drew Brees supposed to do a spin move like Lamar? Or how is Ben Roethlisberger supposed to do the no-look pass like Mahomes? There's that scene in Happy Gilmore where Shooter McGavin is off by himself in the woods, and he's looking around and he's trying to do the Happy Gilmore swing, like just to try to keep up with this phenom. It's actually a very humanizing moment for him. And I feel like that is how some of these old quarterbacks feel. Like, how am I supposed to 50 touchdowns and running for all these yards? I don't know how they do it. And yet I look at Tom Brady and I don't doubt him. We've spent the last 6 months trying to think about this Tampa Bay thing. I still can't come up with a reason this isn't going to work. And I think our eyebrows all raised. Peter focused on it earlier in the show, that the report was Arians said he dropped a 60-yard bomb like it was nothing. I think that's really compelling. We had Bruce Arians in studio a couple studios ago, and we played a game with him where he had lollipops, basically, of all the quarterbacks. He's had Ben and Peyton and Carson and Luck. And we asked him a bunch of questions about who'd you want to pick up the dinner check, who'd you want to go cross-country with. Frankly, I don't think he liked most of them. But the one that he liked is who throws the best deep ball. And he immediately grabbed Carson Palmer and held it up, and it was a big smile on his face. Bruce Arians is death from above, guys. He is air raid. He goes deep. The second I heard the 60-yard pass from Brady, I started rooting for these old guys. Mahomes and Lamar are the future of the league. I still think Tom Brady, with those guys around him and that coach calling up the bomb from NFL Blitz, I think Tom Brady's going to have himself a year, and I think he will have that Happy Gilmore swing.
I hear you on that. But I feel like this question is misleading. Is it going to be the OGs year? Is it going to be the old guys, or is it going to be the really, really young guys? I mean, what do you guys think? It's going to be the torch being passed right over the top of Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson? No, these guys aren't ready to give it up. These guys still got good football left. Big Ben, 38, I know he's coming off an injury. Aaron Rodgers, 36, he feels like he still has a lot of football left. And Russell Wilson is 31 years old, and he can move with the best of them. So before we give the torch to these young fellas who are very impressive, before Big Ben hands the AFC North over to Lamar Jackson, before Russell Wilson looks at Pat Mahomes and says the league is yours, before Aaron Rodgers bows out to Lamar Jackson, I feel like we just got to pump the brakes a little bit. Let these young fellas run a couple championships in a row before we forget about Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Big Ben. These guys set the stage for the young Lamar Jackson and Mahomes and Kyler Murray's, and we'll see if Joe Burrow can fill in or Baker Mayfield can keep going. I just feel like there's that middle group of guys that are the young OGs that still have a lot of football left, and don't be surprised if they humble these young QBs and win a Super Bowl before they do.
You know why I love the NFL? Because there's no unwritten rules. Like in baseball last night, a star player, Fernando Tatis Jr., hit a grand slam on a 3-0 count, and his own manager afterwards said he didn't like it because it wasn't to the traditions of the game, and he broke the unwritten rules. In football, sure, Lamar Jackson can go and lead the league in throw the most touchdowns in the league last year after no one thought he could throw a pass 2 years ago at the draft. Like, that's what I love about football. And this question is misleading, Nate, because which quarterbacks will thrive in 2020? The old or the young? Guess what? They both can. Or none of them can. And there might be a new challenger to that conversation. It's what I love and why we love this game. There are no unwritten rules. And with that, I'd go back to last year, and I'm going to bring up a class called the Remember Us class. Here are 3 quarterbacks who everyone raved about going into last year. Baker Mayfield, coming off an incredible rookie season. Sam Darnold finished the season great, was going into year 2. And Jared Goff was coming off a Super Bowl. We have spent about 30 seconds on these 3 quarterbacks combined this week. And guess what? It might be these 3 that take over the league this year. Or it might be Daniel Jones. Or it might be Dwayne Haskins. For all we know, Ryan Tannehill could be the league MVP and say, look, I went to the AFC Championship a year ago, and I won the Super Bowl this year. And guess what? Mahomes did that last time. This is why the NFL is so great. There are 32 quarterbacks. We are on August 18th, and any one of them could be the one that we're talking about come January and February. So I'm going to go to these guys, these three, Darnold, Baker, and Jared Goff. And I think all three are going to have huge bounce back years, and we'll be putting them right back in the conversation when we're doing this come January.